செய்யுங்க. Hi, students. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, in the last class, we studied the introduction to math.
Good afternoon, sir.
We started the macroeconomics. So in that, we have to study major. In this chapter, we will study some major concepts. So this is introduction to the long-run economic growth, short-run fluctuation, GDP, inflation, unemployment, increasing in the living standard, saving and investment, shocks and sticky prices. So we will see in this chapter 23. So this is introduction. So in order to understand how economy operates and how the performing might be improved. So in order to understand how an economy operates, how we can improve its performance. So for that, the economist collect infinite number of data. So macro economic data infinite number. So any aggregate data, if you use any aggregate data from the economy, the country economy, it can be used to analyze and see how economy operate. But the macroeconomics mainly focus 3 data. So there are many data they analyze to see how the economy operate and how we can improve the performance of the economy. So for that, various data they use in and analyze various models they develop and they predict, and from that they how can we improve the economy. Then they will suggest many policy from their findings. But most of the analysis of in macroeconomics, 3 main data mostly they will focus. Those data are GDP, gross domestic product. Other one is unemployment. Other one is inflation. So these 3 major variables are interrelated and correlated with all other data. So this is a main variable in macroeconomics. So then we will study these 3 variables in detail. So GDP. So in GDP, we have 2 categories of GDP, real GDP and nominal GDP. So real GDP or real gross GDP, the gross domestic product. So real gross domestic product measures the value of final goods and services. Value of final goods and services. We say final goods and services. Value of the final goods and services produced within the border of a given country. Within a country, produced within a country during a given period of time. So 3 words are important in this when we define real GDP, real gross domestic product. So value of final goods and services. So only we value final goods and services. There are intermediate goods. There are raw product, raw material, intermediate product. Then finally we get from the raw material, intermediate goods, then final goods. But we value, when we measure the real GDP, we value only the final goods and services produced within a country during a given period of time. If we say the real GDP in 2021, that means the value of final goods and services produced within the country in 2021. That is the real GDP. So the central bank calculate statistics, census statistics calculate this real GDP. But before calculate real GDP, they will calculate nominal GDP. From that, they adjust and they will get the real GDP. So when we value the final goods and services, we should know the price. Then only we can value the final goods and services. So if they use current price, then we will say nominal GDP. So nominal GDP, which totals the rupee value of all goods and services produced in a country using their current price during the year that were produced. So the nominal GDP in 2021 mean the rupees value of final goods and services produced the country, the value using current price, current market price. So that is nominal GDP. So why we have two GDP, calculate real GDP and nominal GDP? Real GDP is very important for macroeconomic analysis. If we see 2 years, 2020 and 2021, so we assume in 2020 and 2021 we produce same amount, same quantity of goods and services. But in the 2021 price, all price goes up, then the nominal GDP say, if we calculate both year, nominal GDP say 2021 value of nominal GDP is greater than the 2020. But if we say both year, the quantity, physical quantity in both year produce output is same. But because of the price change, there is no change in the quantity, only price increase. Then nominal GDP of 2021 is greater than the nominal GDP of 2020. So we need to know the quantity increase, output increase, not the value increase. So then nominal GDP will not be very useful. We want real GDP. Actually, whether there is a production increased. So then to calculate real GDP, we should use a constant price. So then only we can compare whether output production increased or not. If we have a constant price, with the nominal GDP, the price changing each year. Then even the same quantity, production is same, but value it's different. So then that will not be very useful to analyze. We want whether is there a change in the real production. So for that we need a value the year GDP, a constant price. So every year we calculate nominal GDP using that year price. Then to calculate real GDP, we select 1 year. So 1970 price. So then we use 1970 price as a constant price. Then from 1970 to 2021, we use that price to value every year. Then we can compare. That is real GDP. Now we use constant price 1970. So now from 1970 to 2021, all the goods produced value using the 1970 price. So then if there is a change in the real GDP every year, that will give real increase in the production. The nominal GDP will not, we cannot say whether increase production or not. It can be due to the price increase. So first we calculate nominal GDP using the each year price, current price. From that we can calculate the real GDP using 1 year. So we select 1 year as we call base year, using that price to calculate the real GDP. So then if we the reports give another variable to convert nominal GDP into real GDP, that is GDP deflator. So if we say 1970 is 100 base year, the price is 100, index 100, then every year the overall price how much increase? The 1970 is 100, then 71 it may be, if really increase price 101 or 2, if you really decrease 95, 98, something like that. That is, so that from current and the base year price, we can calculate a index deflator, the percentage. So then the central bank give that deflator also. Then easily we can convert nominal GDP multiply by this deflator, we will get the real GDP. So real GDP is important to analyze whether there is a change in the real production. So this real GDP and nominal GDP. Unemployment, the second important variable that economists study. So GDP, other one unemployment. Unemployment is the state a person is in unemployment if he or she cannot get a job despite being willing to work and actively seeking work. So if a person above there is a age limit, so we say above this age he is in labor force, so 18 years or something. So if they work below that, they are not a labor. So if they in labor force, he is willing to work and able to work. He is willing to work and actively seeking for the job. He is willing to work and actively, some people, they are willing to work, but they are not searching for the job. So here, if a person is willing to work and actively searching for job, if he could not find the job, then we say he is unemployed. So unemployment means if a person is unemployment, if he is willing to work and actively seeking for a job, then if he could not find the job, then we can say he is in unemployment. So that is the difference. So inflation, another third important variable in macroeconomic studies, inflation is an increase in the overall level of prices. So we have infinite number of goods and services. So the inflation means the overall price, all the price increase, overall level of prices. So we can calculate that also. So each commodity, we can give a weight and multiply by that price, then we sum up. So then we will get overall price level. So normally the census department of Sri Lanka calculate this overall price level. So they select a basket of commodities. So not all, some basket of commodities. They select the mostly everyone want that commodity. So basket of commodities they select, keep. Then they get the price of that commodities and they give weight also. So they are not giving equal weight. So in the expenses, if a household expenditure, averagely each good how much they are spending, and that basis give a weight for each and multiply by these prices, then get the average. So that is overall price index. Normally, the census department calculate and give that overall price level as a consumer price index. Consumer price index. So earlier they calculate only Colombo area. So Colombo consumer price index. Then they calculate whole island. So they select basket of goods. That is whole island consumer price index. So they also use a particular year price is constant, the base year. So that year price, if they equalize to 100 that year price, then they calculate other year price. How that price change from that base year price. If the base year price is overall price level is 100, then every year what is the price? So change by certain selected commodities. So that census department calculate from that price, overall price, we can see if the price, that overall price increase over the years, then we say inflation. If that price, the consumer price index decrease over the year, then we can say deflation. If it is increase over the years, inflation. Normally, in all the economy over the year, there is a trend in the price increase. So we call inflation. So these three variables are more important to study or understand how economy operates and how the performance of the economy might be improved. That is important for policy making. So these are three variables more important to understand the long run economic growth and short run fluctuation. So then we develop the model. We develop in macroeconomics. We develop the model, macroeconomic models. So that clarify many important questions about the power and limits of government economic policy. So when there is a change in these three variables, so then we call for the government intervention. So when the price goes up, unemployment increase, income decrease, then the OLA asking the to government do something. So Then government do some policy decision, make policy. For that, we should know about this variable, macroeconomic variable. Then from that, we develop macroeconomic model. But even government has a limit. So, and power. So, government can do certain level then to improve the economy, but the government has limit and a power, limited power. They cannot change everything, but they can do by the policy. They can do something to change in the output and inflation and the unemployment. So can governments promote long-run economic growth? Its policy, can government promote long-run economic growth? Can they reduce severity of recession by smoothing out short-run fluctuation? So, short-run fluctuation is a problem for the economy. If there is a business cycle, so we studied yesterday, all the economies as they go through the business cycle. There is no single economy all the time. Economy grows. So sometime all the economy grows, decline, then increase, then decline. So interval may be vary, but there is a business cycle. So even USA, some period their economy grows, some period the economy growth decline. They are not always growing 4% every year. So some year 4%, some year 2%, 1% like that. So it increased sometime from the recession, it increased 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% like that over the years. Then started to decline 4%, 3%, 2%, 1% like that. All the economy, USA, China, Japan, every country, even Sri Lanka has a business cycle, but the interval may be different. So this is short-run fluctuation. So the government can reduce when the economy go down, that is we call recession. Whether can government reduce the severity of recession by smoothing out short-run fluctuation. So there are certain limit, certain range, government by its policy, monetary policy, mainly for the short-run fluctuation, monetary policy will work out. So there are government have two policies: monetary policy using monetary instrument and fiscal policy. Fiscal policy means using government expenditure and taxes subsidy. So using government, using the tax subsidies for government invest expenditure. By that, they can reduce this short-run fluctuation, reduce the severity of, or government use monetary policy, changing interest rate. So if the investment go down, if the economy decline, that means output production decrease. So the business invest less. Business sector invest, they reduce the investment, then the production decrease. So to increase the investment, the government may reduce the interest rate, that is monetary policy. So if they reduce interest rate, then many business sector investment become, the project become birth because interest rate low. They can borrow money, get the loan at the lowest interest rate. Then it may be profitable, then they invest. So that is monetary policy. To reduce the interest rate, the central bank use many mechanisms. Different way, they are not just reduce the interest rate. There are procedure. They have bonds. They are selling bonds. So selling bonds and buying bonds. So you know central bank sell treasury bill. So you will treasury bill. So it can be 3 months bill, 1 year bills, like that. If it is 3 months, that is mostly they sell, that is treasury bill before. So that by selling and buying, they can change the interest rate. And also by changing the interest, that all the commercial bank, all the banks. So the commercial bank mean, you should not think that only commercial bank we have. People's Bank, Bank of Ceylon, all the banks, except central bank, all the banks we can say commercial bank. They have to, all the commercial bank, they have to deposit certain portion of the people saving. Yeah, saving in the bank. From that saving, certain percentage they will deposit in the central bank, because if anything collapse, for that certain percentage they will say all the commercial bank deposit in their people saving in their bank. So by changing that percentage also, they can change the interest rate. If they reduce that percentage, more money available to the loan for the commercial bank. So if the money available more for the loan, interest rate go down. This is one way. Other way, government selling bill, treasury bill, or government bond, or buying from those who have that bond. They buy and give money. So by buying bond, they can increase the money supply in the market. So they buy bond and give the money for that. So these are, we will study in detail in the later chapter. So are certain government policy tools like manipulating interest rate, that is monetary policy, more effective at mitigating short-run fluctuation than other government policy tools, such as changing tax rate or level of government spending, that is fiscal policy. So for the short-run fluctuation, so mitigating the, reducing the short-run fluctuation, monetary policy can be more effective than the fiscal policy. We will study this policy later. So you can see there's a relationship between unemployment rate and inflation. If the unemployment rate decrease, that means most of them are working. So there is no very less unemployment. So economy is growing. So all got job. Unemployment rate is very low. Then we can see inflation also increase. Overall price will increase. When the unemployment rate low, so many people are unemployed, then we can see the price will fall. there is no inflation, because if all get employed, then there is less supply of labor. So then, to find more labor for the production, they had to pay higher wage. So the cost of production increase, then inflation increase. So if unemployed more, then firm can hire lower wage. Then cost of production low, then price will not increase or may decrease. So there is a relationship between unemployment rate and inflation. But these are very important variables. We want unemployment rate low and inflation also low. That is, the economy won't. But what will happen if the unemployment rate decrease, then inflation increase. So to have a healthy economy or prefer economy, we should trade off. We should want higher inflation and low unemployment rate, or there is a some more unemployment rate more and low inflation rate. So then we should decide. We should trade off. The government should decide at what level we should keep unemployment level, what level we should keep inflation. Both are important variables, but they are opposite. So then we should make, there is a trade-off between this, then we should decide. Does government policy work best when it is announced in advance or when it is a surprise? So if the government inform already they are going to change their policy, then whether if they announce it will work better, or without announcing to introduce the policy will work smoothing to smooth the economy. So that is also, there are, we say there are shocks. Shocks affect the economy. So if it is anything expected, then that happen, that is not shock. Anything unexpected is the shock to the economy. So that is also we should consider when we study the economy. So now we will see economic growth over the years across the world globally. So if we see around 2000 years or from that, or nearly 1000 years, in the world there is no big change in the living standard. So and also there is no much difference between the rich country and poor country. So we were last 500 years before, 500 years ago, there is no much change in the up to 1700 the BC. So there is no big change in the living standard, but the economy grows. Economy over the years, there is a increase. To match that increase, population also increase. So the per capita income for many years, 1000 years, it's same, nearly same. So that means living standard, all the countries is not improve much. And also if we see the living standard between different countries, also not much different. The Europe and other countries living standard and the poor country living standard is not much different. There are different 5 or 10 times different living standard, but not now. It is 15 times or something like that. So richest country and poorest country living standard 50 times higher in the rich. So it's this living standard started to increase suddenly. It's due to the industrial revolution in the 18th century. The industrial revolution occurred in the Europe. So then their living standard every year increase certain percentage. So in 20 years, the living standard doubled. So like that, their living standard increase because of industrial revolution. By industrial revolution, they produce more than the population increase. So each person get more income output to consume. So their living standard increase. And the other developing countries also later, because of this revolution occurred, the living standard increase, but it's different rate in increase. In developed countries, it's every year increase at a higher rate, but developing countries, it increase slowly. Now, the living standard, the richest country and poorest countries different is 50 times. So this modern economic growth happened after industrial revolution. So when we study this macroeconomics, so we should know two things: saving and investment. So saving and investment very important for the economic growth. That is the heart of the economic growth. So to increase the living standard of the people, we should economy grow to produce more in future. We need saving and investment. So for investment, we need saving. So saving means we produce output. That output we consume certain percentage. Certain percentage we should save for saving. That saving should be invested in the future production investment. So create new production. So saving should be channeled to invest the next year future production. To create new product, new goods, that is investment, new goods. That saving should be channeled to future production, that is investment. So for the investment to increase, we should save. So that means we should reduce the consumption, current consumption from the total output production. Total production we consume, the income can be used two purposes. One is saving, consumption, the rest is saving. So the saving is important. If we produce and all we consume, then we cannot invest in the future production. Or if we save only less amount, then we can invest for the future production only less amount. So the future output will not much. So economy will not grow. So savings are generated when current consumption is less than current output. So investment happens when resources are devoted to increasing future output. But normally people are concealed by using the investment. So normally the people use different meaning. So we studied earlier profit. So we normally think about accounting profit, but economic profit is different. So economic profit consider explicit and implicit cost. So these are different. Like that, investment also we have two terms: financial investment, economic investment. So we normally say if a person buy stocks and bonds of the company, then or he buy a house, then real estate. So we may say he is investing. He is investing, buying companies, buying share of the company and bonds. So we say investment. We so normally call that is investment. And buying houses or resale later, then we say he's investing in that business, real estate. So this is financial investment. This is not the economic investment. Buying share is not increasing the production. So company have the market, company shares are available to buy. Somebody own share, bring that share in the market, he is selling. So already issued share. The firm is not issuing new share. Already they issued share. That share are exchanged in the stock market. So in the Columbus stock market, the shares are buying and selling. Already issued share by the companies. So this is secondary market. So already issued share, they are selling, buying and selling. So this is not creating any new investment by the companies. So this person is investing like that. So this is financial investment. This is not the economic investment. So buying already built house is not the economic investment. That is financial investment. So here we say saving and investment in the macroeconomics. If we say investment, that is economic investment. We should not think about other. Economic investment means creating new product, new machinery. Anything creating new product or new machinery is the investment. That is economic investment. Already produce product, buying and selling, that is not the investment. Economic investment means by investing we are producing new. So that is economic investment. So we should not. So people are saving. So households are saving. These household saving are going to be used by business sector as a investment. So how this household saving can be channeled to business sector to invest as an intermediary, the banks and other financial institutions are helping. So to transfer the saving from the households to business sector to invest. So these banks and other financial institution is very important for the economy. They are the one channeling the saving to investment. So many institution involved. So banks, we are normally say bank, all the banks and other financial institution like mutual funds, pension plans, insurance company, all are other financial institutions. They also channeling saving from households to business people. They all banks and other financial institutions, they get the money from the household and give the loan to the business. So you should not think only banks it's doing. I don't know whether you know or not. Mutual funds. Mutual funds also a company that operate mutual funds. So the people invest in their mutual fund. Mutual funds mean they collect by share from many companies, and they have the pool of share. So if you are buying in the stock market a particular company's share, that is, then you keep only one company's share. But if you buy from the mutual fund their share, that share mean you have share from different companies. So then your risk is less. When you invest in mutual fund, the risk is less because you have invested many companies. That share mutual funds, share say you invest many companies. So that is also your saving go to that mutual funds. They give that funds as a loan to other business. So mutual fund and insurance companies also do the same. Pension plan also they collect money from you and giving loan, then they get profit. So anything investment means anything new produced. Uncertainty, then another concept we should know: uncertainty, expectation, and so. So we know in any products and any business there is a uncertainty. It will not happen as we expected. That is why when the investors or business people take risk, they plan, they thoroughly analyze, then they invest with the hope that in the future should be like that, the demand like that, they can sell this amount product they are going to produce, then they can make a profit like that. They have an expectation. With that expectation, they invest. But this expectation means there is an uncertainty. That is why they expect. So there are sometimes if something happened than the expected, unexpectedly something happened, that is shocks. If anything happened as you expected, that is not shock. If anything happen than you expected, then that is shocks. So then people expectation also very important for the economy. So if a business people have pessimistic expectation, if they are pessimistic, so if they think the economy going down, like next year also economy will go down like that, then they will not invest more because they are thinking future economy, it's not favorable, it's going down. Then they will not invest because then they will lose more. So that is pessimistic. If they are pessimistic about the future, then they will invest less. If they are optimistic about the future, if they think economy will grow, then they will invest more, then they can profit. So this expectation very important. So the people confidence on the economy. then economy will grow. The firm will, if the people be pessimistic about future, then they will not invest, then economy go down. So if the shocks, anything unexpected changes, it is shock. So economy will be affected by demand shocks and supply shocks. So demand may be increased than we expected. Then that is demand. So demand may be less than we expected. So the business people expect some demand in the future, then they invest. But if the demand more than they are expected, then for them higher profit they can get. But they have to make adjustment to the more demand. They have to find out the how to expand how labor and machinery. So, and if the expectation is less than they thought expected, so then they will face problem. They could not solve what they produced. So price may be low, then they profit. So supply shocks also, but frequently in an economy shocks are happening. Most of the time demand shocks. Very infrequent supply shocks happen. The cost of production, so fuel price increase something, it's not frequently. But supply shocks is not frequent, but demand shocks we will face frequently. That is that. So for the business cycle, the demand shocks is main reason. Supply shocks also, but if supply shocks occurred, that is very important. So it will not change quickly. So supply shocks is not happening frequently, but if it is occurred, it's very serious. So it takes long term to recover. The demand shocks, it's happening frequently. So then we will study the demand shock and supply shocks also. So shock means unexpected changes. So how the economy adjusts for these shocks. So this for the business cycle, why it's happening? Mainly because of the price inflexibility. So last class also I said the some product price change frequently. So day to day their price change, but most of other goods the prices are not changing frequently. So it takes some months. If anything shocks, demand shocks happen or supply shocks happen, but the price will not change immediately. It will take few months. So the prices are sticky, inflexible. So that is the reason. So when the prices are sticky, inflexible, so to equal the quantity demanded and quantity supply, so supply will not change. Quantity, the price will not change. So then quantity demanded and quantity supply will not be equalized by changing the price. Then to equalize, then output should be changed. So in the next class, we will study how that sticky price make the reason for the short-run fluctuation in an economy. So student, I stop here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.